Peace and blessings and keep up the lessons. This is your brother from the Brother Talib Show. Yeah, I'm back and it's been a while, people, but I got some good stuff for you. It's some of the stuff that has been in the news for a little while about this guy who got beat up by these cops, and I'm going to get in on that and have something else to bring to you to your notice if you don't already know. So let's stay with it, stay with me, and listen in. Are you ready? Let's get it.
Are you ready? Let's get it.
All right, people. Yeah, I'm back again, and I appreciate you guys being and staying with me. Those of you who have subscribed and keep, subscribing to your bro. You know what I mean? See that subscription button up there. I mean, you can't really click on that button. That's not a clickable button. I haven't put that into my, functions yet, but I will do so soon. I'm working on that. Sometimes you got to pay for these things and it costs money. So, that's why I also say to help your brother, subscribe to my videos. It helps me to get to monetization, and then I can afford to do more for you and spend more time bringing out content and giving you some more videos and things that you want to know about and benefiting you. And especially for your brothers when I get them to my Islamic parts of my segments that I speak about. That is ultimately free. That has nothing to do with. I don't even care to monetize those videos because that's for you as a Muslim, my Muslim brothers and sisters, and assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to y'all too, and to help you and guide, whatever I learned that I'm firm on and I understand and I follow clear understanding of my faith upon the Quran and the Sunnah and the guidance according to the guidance in the Quran, as far as guidance in the Quran and guidance of the authentic Sunnah by the Salaf Salihin, the pious predecessors, which were the companions that followed of the teachings of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also the three generations that preceded that, the Tabi'in and the Tabi'in, and the scholars that inherited that knowledge, four imams or so, and on down the line, because there's plenty of imams and scholars that inherited the knowledge besides the four imams as well. But we know those are the main four. We know about the main four, most of us. But anyway, basically that guidance, which is sure without any innovation, without any inconsistencies and fabrications and so forth. So we stay and cling to that and follow this guidance so that we can have a better life here. It's going to be always a struggle. It's no doubt about that. And when I speak about what I'm going to get into, it clearly shows that. But better life, better structure, better understanding, and how to deal with all these pitfalls and things and these problems that come about or will be up against, what's the evils that are up against us into the time when we are taken out of this life and going into the hereafter. So that's it. But anyway, let's get into what we're getting into. And thanks again. Subscribe, as I said. Click the like button on this video and stay with your brother. I'm going to try to end it as quick as I can. I'm not going to try to drag it out, but I just want you to listen in to what this guy, what is his name? Dr. Rashad Ritchie, who is from the show Indisputable on TYT, which is I think the Turkish, the Young Turks or something like that. And it's a news show, and it's like an independent news station or media and so forth. And they come at it. They bring some stuff, some real raw stuff. They don't kind of pull punches, and they bring the truth to the best of their ability, uncut. Sometimes of course they're gonna not put cursing and stuff that is hate crime, hate speech about people's groups and religions and so forth. No, they don't do none of that, but they bring out the truth, and they're transparent with a lot of the stuff that they report on. So this guy, he's well known. He's been doing his thing, and he brings a good point on the issue and the things that had transpired with this guy Tyre. I think his name is Tyre Nichols, and his murder due to these police coming with their brutality in Memphis. These Memphis police officers that took him and apprehended him, on the guise of saying that he was reckless driving allegedly and all this like that, and then they pulled him over. They pulled him, but before that he ran. So they felt that they had the right to and the entitlement to beat him like that. No. So anyway, we'll get into it. We'll let you make your decision, and I'm bringing truth to, and I'm bringing this talk to this because Brother Talib hasn't spoke about it. So I'm speaking about it now, even though it's a little old, but it is relevant at this time still. And we cannot let these things die out. Just like even what happened to Floyd, the police officer put his knee on his George Floyd put his knee on his neck and strangled him in a sense to his death. To try to so-called act like he was putting him into custody and arresting him, whatever. But anyway, let's get into it. It's it's a little bit sad and unfortunate. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. And we'll listen. Ready? Okay, let's get into it. Okay, hold on for a sec. Gotta get it up. Alrighty then, and here we go.
I left the department in the end of 2021 after 5 years of service, and people ask me all the time, what do you think about the Tyre Nichols incident moving forward? And there are some points that I want to point out after watching the video and kind of seeing what's been going on in Memphis.
Oh, real quick, this is a former police officer, Memphis police officer, and he's speaking out on the Tyre Nichols case. So just listen in again.
That I think will be really interesting to you. So 2 of the 5 officers I did patrol with personally and did have a personal relationship with 2 of the 5. So I'm going to be talking from a personal standpoint and from a standpoint as a former Memphis police officer and what I see moving forward. And even though I know 2 of the 5 personally and I patrolled with them personally and had a relationship with them, this in no way excuses any of their actions that partook about 2 weeks ago with the Tyre Nichols incident.
All right, that is a good setup. He said it does not excuse them just because I know them. I understand that sentiment. There's more. Here it is.
The first thing that I want to talk about, which is utter BS, is you'll see a lot of conservatives, but you see a lot of former conservatives that say, why did he run? He would still be alive if he ran. That's not a guarantee. So the first thing that came out was that this all started because this was a reckless driving. But now the chief of the department is saying that there is no evidence of reckless driving, which means you can't say that if he never ran that he would still be alive when the stop was illegal in the first place. Now, I have had to pull out people, rip people out of a car aggressively at gunpoint with foul language many times. But most of those people were murderers, robbers, sexual assaulters, the worst of the worst, where you needed to meet violence with violence. Never once did I put my gun in the face of somebody who I suppose for reckless driving, right? So from the get-go, you have a man who was not guilty of anything fleeing from the police because he's scared because he doesn't even know why he's getting pulled over in such an aggressive manner. So as a black male, I probably would have ran too, and I was the police for 5 years.
Now you see what he's saying, and you're gonna listen to the guy, the commentator here, indisputable. But my commentary is to basically say this guy, this police officer is a police officer, and he's on point. You understand what I'm saying? These police officers did not have any true justification by law, okay, of what they claimed they were doing as far as apprehending him and so forth, right? But let my man talk.
He makes an interesting but true statement. Now, he also said that he didn't know why he was being pulled over, talking about Mr. Nichols. Maybe he did. Maybe that's why he ran. Who knows? Nobody will actually know because he's dead. He has no due process anymore. Here's another video.
Number 2, there is no way, form, or fashion that you take a police boot and you strike a man's face multiple times while he's on the ground.
Boom. Now he explicitly clarifies the type of way that they went about apprehending him by using brute force that is not part of the police force or the training, and he'll speak a little bit about it, or the tactics that can be used in apprehending, a person who is being put into arrest or taken into, who is being arrested, right? Right. So they use their boot and kick this man. The man's on the ground to his face. The point about this is, for me, is that this has been going on for long as this nation has been growing from being a young nation to now. Brutality being used on various levels from their various people. But for this to be done, which makes this a very much of a big issue for the African American community, or black, as we say, color of the skin, black community, that the crime against ourselves as such as this, you know what I mean? Black on black crime. From what is being known, this is why these guys have been taken out of, they've been taken out of their positions, and he wasn't even arrested, if I'm correct, and they're under investigation for committing a crime against a person, a society, it's a citizen. The citizen, even though they feel, okay, he fell into the position of that they had the right to apprehend him, but the way that they apprehended him, this is incorrect. So this is what we know, but this is called, where the people feel they're above the law in the policing agencies, in the enforcement agencies, and this is what is going on and been going on. But like I said, there's so many levels to get into, but those are a whole lot of other videos. But we know these people who commit these crimes because they go beyond their positions and what they think, and they want to be like they're the judge and jury and executor. This is crazy, but this is what it is. But let the guy speak on.
No form, no way, no fashion. There is no way that is excusable. I don't care who you're fighting. A kick to the face right here, that can be lethal. And unless you're trying to intentionally kill somebody, that is not a tactic that is taught, nor should ever be used. Number 3, if you are a police officer, I don't care how cool you are, people, you never, ever, ever let your fellow officer do anything that you wouldn't let be done to you. You are just as guilty as the lynch mobs who used to lynch black people and watch them die and get lynched.
Correct. And this is also clear to also the paramedics. He's going to speak on it, and other people who were there and bear witness. They are just as guilty following that lynching, because that is very synonymous with a lynching. And just because they're the same nationality don't mean anything, because this is what the people talk about. All life matters, right? But we say Black Lives Matter because why? Because the people that are of the black or African race, nationality, their lives are at the lowest level of people respecting and believing that they have the rights as everybody else to be given due process in enforcement. But no, we don't. But all the other people do, especially if you are white, especially if you are, honorably white, like Asian people or whoever else. They're down the line from the tone, the lightest tone to the darkest tone, and forget it. That's where it goes. It goes down the drain. The darker you get, and this is reality. I'm keeping it 100. This is what it is. We know this is the problem here in this country, has been the problem in this country, and still is. Ingrained into the system, systematic racism, systemic racism. And it's not just whites doing it to blacks. Blacks do it, Asians do it to blacks, and do it to other races that might be on a different level of how much of percentage that they get these actions done to them, like brown people, Hispanics, Latinos or what have you, Latinos, people of the Spanish-speaking countries that are mixed with, the natives from those countries, Mayans, Aztecs, like Mexicans, Mayans over there in Salvador, El Salvador, my mother's country, Honduras, Guam, Ecuador, you know, and you have the Taino Indians, Puerto Rico, you know, over there, the Arawaks in the Caribbean, so forth, right? But the Spanish-speaking people, that was derived that tongue of the Latin language from the Spaniards coming over there and doing what they did. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. The point is that the people of all races have rights to life and living and pursuit of happiness and so forth and on and that, and respect and you know, the preservation of their life should be on a high scale because they're human. Because they're human. And that's the basic understanding. But I'm going to stop this. Let me let the guy speak a little bit who did this, and I appreciate him. Shout outs to him, Dr. Rashid Ritchie, who does these talks and so forth. But let me let you listen to him speak.
Even though they never put a hand on them, you are just as guilty. And my last point, everybody from the beaters to the paramedics to the regular officers on the scene that stood there and watched is going to lose their job and should, because once you look at somebody, no matter what crime they did, and you take the human out of them, you have now also lost your humanity and now your freedom.
Let's put the picture up.
And this is
Brandon Williams.
Brandon Williams
is his name.
He spoke out.
I wish he was still a cop, to be honest with you.
Yeah, cops like him need to be.
Brandon Williams grew up in the same area he patrolled in East Memphis. That means he could see the humanity in the people he patrolled. They raised him. While he now lives in Dallas and is no longer an officer, he turned to TikTok to speak out about the Tyre Nichols murder. Williams' TikTok video has more than 600,000 views, and he said he'll continue answering questions as the investigation continues. He has done so far in 2 other videos specifically addressing rumors circulating around the case. Now, thank you, dear brother.
Yes, and thank you to him too. And Dr. Rashid Ritchie says something in relation to, and I'm going to end it there because of the time, but he says something, and again, thank you, shout out to Dr. Rashid Ritchie, you know, what he's saying there. But basically he was talking about how the people try to say because he's a former police and he's a conservative or whoever, he mentioned it. But you can listen to his video and go in there and watch his video fully all the way to the end. And that stating people feel that he didn't have no right to speak because he was about the issue as a cop or speak on cops or policing process, right? And when it comes to apprehension of a said criminal, right? So Dr. Ritchie clarified and said, listen, just because he is not an acting police officer in duty, right, and he's retired or he left and so forth, right, resigned, doesn't say that he doesn't have the right to speak. And I can use this scenario. If the former presidents of the United States, and people still, just because they're president, they're still a human being. I don't care about that. These high stature positions takes away from you being human, but it puts you in a godly position. That's what it is? People think, oh, because the president is in the presidential position, a person becomes a president, he gets put into the office and he becomes this person that he can speak over everybody else. He has the rights over everybody else. That has been proven already with the cancel culture that pressed on Twitter to force Twitter to I'm sorry, that's not time for that yet, but force Twitter to ban and cancel out Trump, the ex-president, from speaking and being able to have rights to tweet on Twitter. Okay? This was censorship. So how are you going to say that the police officer, former police officer, Just like former presidents, they speak on presidential other issues and politics on a level. I mean, and they given that platform with respects. But because also he's a black cop, yeah, let's get it correct. Let's get it real. We know racism is on that. Don't play. I'm not stupid. But being that he is black, African American, basically to say this as far as descendancy, and his DNA, I don't know it, but more or less we can say he was a former police officer, so he knows the experience. Just like the presidents were former presidents, they know the experience. Secretaries of state, they know the experience. Former generals or former brigadier generals can speak on those issues, right, and come up in front in these in this talk and be interviewed by a news station reporter, right, interviewer, right, and they can speak on issues. So why can't he speak on it? Anyway, let's go to the next thing, and I appreciate Dr. Richie again, and my man Brandon, the police officer from Memphis, a former police officer. Much shout outs to him too. Thank you, my brother, like he said too, right? Okay, so here I want to just show you and let you listen to this, and we'll finish out on this video. I didn't want it to go this long, but you know how I get sometimes. We just go on and get into it, and it's a very passionate situation. But this lady, this African American sister, as we say, on a conscious level. So basically, she's speaking about Haiti, and listen to what she's saying. This is really some deep stuff because many people don't realize that there are reasons why in these countries that the U.S. as well as any other occupiers, or I say, look what happened in South Africa, and she's going to mention that have their claws or made their way into these countries was due to most on a level of money basis. The basis of it was money, capitalizing off of the resources in those countries that in turn, when they take those resources and they can use them and process them into making products or making fuel or what have you. There was a lot of prospects and pioneering going on, but the pioneering did not have any good to it because they took away and stole it. Okay, and forcefully went into these lands and did not allow the people who lived there to benefit from it. And listen to what she's saying in relation to this substance that is being found in Haiti.
Heat resistant that they use for spacecrafts. 1 ton of Haiti's iridium.
Iridiums. I wanted to get
iridium is worth $45 billion. We have mountains of it. They put soldiers and private military contractors in UN uniforms. They're everywhere in Haiti, digging out the mountain. So they literally, since 1986, with the fall of Duvalier, the U.S. military has been taking out Haiti's. Haiti has an extraterrestrial material that's found nowhere else in the world.
Going back so you can hear it, so I'm going to let it roll over again so you can hear exactly what we didn't hear when she first started.
Except South Africa, and it's the purest in Haiti. 65 million years ago, an asteroid landed in this space. Mm-hmm. We have an asteroid mountain in different places. We have mountains. They're made of asteroid. They use this asteroid because it's the remain of this asteroid that is so heat resistant that they use for spacecraft. 1 ton of Haiti's iridium.
Iridium. I wanted to get
iridium.
Okay, so we can stop there. And it was called iridium, right? This is what she was talking about. And this is a substance that is being used for different types of energy sources. If they can process it into it becoming a very beneficial energy source that can be used for whatever, whether it's fuel or so forth, right? Or making other products, like how we have lithium. At one point lithium was not found or was being researched, but it wasn't yet to be proven that it can be used for energy as an energy source, right? Batteries, but eventually it did. So this is something of another substance to that aspect, that and fall in the same kind of line that they can possibly use this for if they're not already in research or have research going on and tests done that can eventually prove that it can be processed on a safe level and be able to be used for energy sources or for components in products, electronic products, or what have you. Like today, that a lot of that stuff is going on, and there are plenty of research in various areas to find, more convenient or more, especially for energy. The energy race is major right now. What's going on? So, but the point is where she coming from is the pillaging, is the taking, is the going into lands and taking this. And when I say taking, it's speaking in a way to say that you're not asking, or you might deal with just a puppet government that y'all probably helped for them to get placed into there, right? And that you can siphon out their raw materials with ease with that government. But if it's not, then you put pressure and put stuff up about sanctions, or if they owe money, then you put, you place them, or you help, you use, entities of institutions such as the IMF to create a reason or that you can siphon from them because they're owed money to this country, or the countries that funneled the money into the IMF, or so forth, or the IMF, helping to put pressure and making them feel like, oh, okay, we got to open up our ports, or we got to open up our markets, or allow these people to come in here and grab what they want, because we want to make sure we straighten out our debt, what have you. This is the problem, and this is what's been going on. But there's a whole nother more of this discussion to go on, and I don't have that much time. So I would say thank you, my brothers and sisters. Peace and blessings. Keep up the lessons. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Don't forget again to subscribe. Until next time, this is your brother Talib from the Brother Talib Show. Stay with me until the next time. Seeing you soon, inshallah. Peace and blessings. Bye-bye now.